All right, so we're going to get started just a little bit early. So before we get going here, I'll just put him on the spot real quick because I know he'll probably want to say hello. So I'm going to just ask Dr. Perry just to take 30 seconds here just to say hello to you guys. Welcome you to our Q&A session. So Dr. Perry, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but I think you can handle it.
Not at all. Thank you, Mr. Davis. Welcome to our prospective students and their families for attending our virtual open house. This is the first time that we've done something like this before in this kind of forum. We're hoping that the video that you viewed provided a glimpse into the East experience and what it would be like to be a student at East. And we're hoping that our panelists tonight, as well as myself, can help to answer any questions that are outstanding that you may have, and help you to make a decision as to which of the high schools would be the best fit for you to continue your education. So I thank you for coming out tonight, and I'm looking forward to tonight. So thank you.
All right, so thank you, Dr. Perry. What we are going to do tonight is give you an opportunity to ask questions of our teachers. Everybody you see assembled here is an East teacher or administrator. We know that you've gone through course of study nights and question and answers with curriculum supervisors, but this is your opportunity to ask questions of the teachers themselves. We did have some questions that were pre-submitted already, and we're going to kind of use those as kind of like a frequently asked question that we always get at these open houses about our various classes. However, at the bottom of your Zoom link, you'll notice that there is a Q&A link. And what you can do, you can go ahead and you can type in some questions there. And, if our teacher does not answer it live, what they will do is they will attempt to type an answer. Also, if you miss a question, we're going to end up recording this and posting it on our open house website. So that is an opportunity for you as well to go back and watch. So one of the first questions we have is actually a math question. All right, so we're going to go to either Ms. Dollarton or Mr. Killian. And so the question that we have is, what are the differences in curriculum and rigor between an honors level and A-level track math class? So Mr. Killian or Ms. Dollarton, would one of you like to answer that?
I can take that if you want, Ms. Dollarton. So for those of you out there, hi, I'm Jeff Killian. I teach functions honors. So this, I guess, would be a very good question for me to answer. So I think there's a couple things. I mean, first of all, in terms of the pacing. So when you're in honors class, your end game is the BC version of the AP Calc course, which would be Calc 2. So essentially, you're doing an additional year of math in terms of material. So for example, the functions course would be doing some of Algebra 2, some of pre-calc. Then the course after that, which is pre-calc honors, would be doing pre-calc honors and a little bit of Calc 1. And then the AP Calc course would be a little bit of Calc 1 and then all of Calc 2. So you're doing 4 years of math in 3 years. So that pacing is going to be a lot faster and a lot deeper than your A-Track course, as well as the kind of problems you're doing. You're going to be doing a lot more questions where you apply what you learn, think on your feet, and maybe dealing with problems that we don't necessarily do exactly in class. Now, I'll take time and I'll talk to students about how to predict what kinds of extensions we might put, but we're going to have a higher percentage of problems where, they're questions that they may not necessarily have directly seen in class, and it's important that they be able to think on their feet, because that's the kind of question that AP courses are going to ask all the time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Killian.
Sure.
So the next question, this is a submitted question. Do all languages have exchange programs? Mr. Graff, you said you wanted to answer that. You want to just take that real quick?
Sure. It's a brief answer. German and French both have exchange programs every other year. And yeah, hopefully they will be, as soon as COVID is nipped in the bud, they will be starting right away, nice and early. Hopefully as early as next year, but if not, the year after that, I'm sure. So yeah, every other year, French, German.
All right, thank you, Mr. Graff. All right, we have another pre-submitted question. This is we'll go with Spanish question here, so we'll stick with world language. Ms. McVeigh, what's the difference between level 1 and level 2?
Right, so a level 1 class would be for someone who's never had the language before. So in middle school, you're taking either French or Spanish. So if you go in, that's level 1, the middle school you took. So when you come into high school, if you took Spanish in middle school and you're taking Spanish in high school, you'd go into level 2. If you're changing language, so if you're going from French to Spanish, that's when you would go into level 1.
All right, thanks, Ms. McVeigh. Just so you guys know, when you're submitting questions, right now we're only doing a Q&A with our core courses, which would be English, math, science, world languages, social studies, health P, and special ed. At 8 o'clock, we're going to switch over then to our elective classes, fine arts, industrial arts, music, drama, and those types of programs. So as you're typing questions, just be mindful of that. Let's do an English question here. This English question is, what are the biggest differences in the levels of English for English 1? So English 1 honors, English 1A, English 1R. Ms. Greenwald, you got that?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Greenwald. I'm an English teacher at East. I've been here for 18 years and have taught every academic level that we offer. So first of all, the differences between the courses are based really on their pacing. We like to think of, first of all of our courses, including our level, are all college prep courses. And we're all teaching the same skill level, teaching the same skills in reading, writing, vocabulary, all of those main components are taught at every level. The differences really between the levels have to do with pacing and the amount of work that is done in class versus the amount of work that is assigned to do at home. For example, if you love to read and a voracious reader and read a ton, you may be interested in taking an honors level class. The honors program reads at a very fast pace, and all of the reading is done at home. The A-level class is really like just an accelerated college prep class. In that class, most of the work is also still done at home. And in the R-level class, which is our main college prep class, a lot of work is done in class and a lot of the work is scaffolded to help students to be able to, by the end of the year, do more of their work at home. In all the classes, we read almost all of the same works. I would say in honors, they read a few additional works of literature that the A and the R levels don't read. But you are learning and developing all of the same skills and preparing you to succeed in sophomore, junior, and senior level English at all of the different levels. And really, it's important to think about pacing and independent work when choosing a level.
All right, thanks, Ms. Greenwald. So let's go, we'll go with a social studies question here, kind of the same question, Mr. Howard. What is the biggest difference between World Civ Honors and World Civ A?
All right, thanks, Mr. Davis. So I can pretty much echo a lot of what Jen and Jeff said as far as pacing and work goes. The honors level class obviously requires a lot more independent study, a lot more reading, and the expectation is students are a little more independently motivated to do that at home rather than always be guided in class. The honors level also has supplemental texts that the A level does not have. Well, they don't have as many, I should say. The honors level this year is a little different with COVID, but usually we read at least 1 or 2 supplementary texts per marking period, whereas the A level will not necessarily do that. The honors level class also focuses a lot more on the primary source analysis. The honors level class is not technically an AP prep class per se, but myself and Mrs. McKee like to really get the kids kind of ready for that sort of analysis that they'll need if they continue into the AP level history classes like AP US history or AP European history or AP world history or any AP history class. The A level class does that as well, but just not to the same extent, and it's also more guided. So I think, again, a lot of what has been said already with math and English as far as the different levels kind of also applies for social studies too.
All right, thanks, Mr. Howard. All right, Ms. Phillips, I'm going to kind of give you a dual question here. So do middle school students come in taking level 1 or 2, and can students take more than one world language in high school?
Yes, so some students do come in taking level 1, and that's generally speaking when, as Mrs. McVeigh has said, they're switching languages, or maybe they're coming from a private school where a world language was not offered. The level 1 course is taught as if it's for true beginners, meaning they have virtually no experience with a language, whether it be French or Spanish or German. If students are unsuccessful in middle school language, sometimes they will try to repeat level 1. And that just really is a personal decision, but we generally recommend all students coming from middle school experience, regardless of language, take level 2. Obviously German or Latin is a new language, so that would not be the case, but for French or Spanish, they would take level 2. About taking more than one language, yes, many times students do this. As a freshman, it's not as popular just because students are usually getting used to the high school environment. It's overwhelming in some cases, but we often have students who are juniors, sophomores, seniors, who are taking level, say, 3, 4, 5 French or Spanish and taking a second language, maybe German or Latin or French and Spanish often concurrently. So yes, later on, but often freshman year, people do not take 2 world languages at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Phillips. Ms. Szynski, this is kind of a gross question, but do we dissect in biology, and what's the big difference between bio honors and bio A?
Okay, so no, we do not dissect in biology. Our curriculum does not include like human body systems, which is typically when you would be doing dissection, although we do offer upper level electives, human anatomy and vertebrate anatomy, where they do lots of dissection. That's the main focus of the course. So we don't do it in biology. We give you the underlying concepts that you need, but then you can take other classes throughout your high school career to kind of build on that. And if dissection is something that you want to do, there's lots of options for that. And no, Mr. Davis, it's not gross. It's pretty cool.
I remember dissecting when I was in high school, so you know, I get it.
The main difference between Bio A and Bio H is kind of what you've been hearing in biology. Bio A and Bio H typically follow the same sequence of units and about at the same pace, but in bio honors, we go into more depth. So if you're doing the same pace, but in Bio H, you're going into more depth, then you are moving a lot faster. So we get into more detail with some of the concepts that we're learning. And a lot of times we connect one unit to another unit to another unit and really challenge students to think at a higher level. And also some of the themes that you've been hearing tonight, that independent work is much more of a focus at the honors level. And then when you come into class, it's reinforcement of kind of what you've been doing on your own. Whereas in Bio A, you might have more time in class to, you know, practice some of the skills that you've been learning along the way.
All right, thanks, Ms. Szynski. Ms. Hildebrand, we have a health and PE question. Is phys ed required all 4 years? And are there any individual fitness options that are offered, or is it all big group classes?
Yes. Hi, my name is Miss Hildebrand. I've been at East for the past 10 years. Yes, physical education is required in New Jersey, actually, K through 12 or 1st through 12. So it is required all 4 years. Junior and senior year, we offer a mind and body connection 1, mind body connection 2. One is more geared towards the weight room. And the other one is more geared towards individualized fitness, body weight activities, different yoga, stretching, and strength training activities.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hunter, we have a special ed question. So what is study skills? if I have study skills on my schedule. And what does ICR stand for?
Okay, so first, hi, I'm Marie Hunter. I've been at East for about 13 years. So study skills is a class that your student would be recommended for, and it would be a guided study hall almost, where the teacher helps the student advocate, learn different skills as far as advocating for themselves, producing extra time if they need it for tests or assessments, helping the student get organized, helping just in the overall function of school. And then that way, if you had any direct questions, that specific study skills teacher would be reaching out to your students' other content teachers. So it would be a nice way to, kind of have one central communication. But that is something that is recommended through the IEP Child Study Team services in middle school to come to high school. So if that's something that your student you think would benefit, especially coming from the middle to the high school, definitely bring that up at your student's IEP meeting in the spring and see if that's something that would work for your child. ICR stands for in-class resource. So the students would have 2 teachers in the classroom, a gen ed teacher and a special ed teacher, and they work together, they provide lessons together, different modifications. It's a very seamless relationship. So it benefits every student in that class. And if you had any specific questions as far as your child should be in ICR for English and maybe not math or vice versa, again, that's something that you would discuss at your student's IEP meeting.
Okay. Miss Dollarton, we have a question here about math that says, I heard you could double up on math. Is there a good time to do that? A not good time to do that? What do you think? You're muted, Miss Dollarton.
Okay, so I typed an answer there to offer, but typically that occurs for kids that are in the A-TRAC program that are interested in achieving calculus as their end goal. So you can almost look at it and project from back, end goal forward. If you want to take calculus by senior year, then you would need to be able to take pre-calc in your junior year, so on and so forth. So typically what we see is in sophomore year, kids can double up geometry and algebra 2, which would then allow them to take pre-calc junior year, calculus senior year. And really the purpose of that is to strengthen algebra skills. So if you are a student that's currently 8th grade taking algebra and you might not have the strongest algebra 1 skills and would like to take that opportunity to reinforce them, you could come to East and take enriched algebra, kind of build that knowledge. And then that way, sophomore year, it would allow you the opportunity to take geometry and algebra 2 and progress from there. As far as the honors program, not a typical habit that we see, right? Coming in, you're not going to take 2 honors math typically.
Okay. So another science question, Mr. Falat, obviously freshmen take biology, but what's the general progression beyond that as they go into sophomore year, junior year that you would recommend as a physical science teacher?
Okay, hi, I'm Mr. Falat. I teach mainly chemistry and physics. So I don't normally answer too many questions here because now bio is freshman year. After that, they would go to chem, and now it's required that they take physics as well. So typically the progression is freshman year bio, chem sophomore year, physics junior year. Now, kind of going with that math question we just answered, students can definitely double up with some electives. You could have, let's say, junior year, you could take AP Chem and physics. You could take AP Bio and physics. Senior year, you could do human anatomy, vertebrate anatomy, forensics. We have a whole host of electives. In fact, we actually have 4 brand new electives that are available for freshmen to take. So they could actually double up, take bio, and one would be Intro to Engineering, Second one is going to be climate and change. Third is going to be marine biology. And the fourth, very apt to what's happening today, is infectious disease. So we have all four of these brand new electives that freshmen are going to be able to take in their semester courses.
All right, thank you, Mr. Falat. Mr. Zagrafis, I got a question for you. If you can answer this, coming from middle school now here at high school, when will Genesis be available for the incoming freshmen to choose their courses and school?
So good evening, everybody. There was an 8th grade presentation. I know the guidance counselors are all meeting, but the answer to the question is February 8th is the day that you will see things going through the parent portal. And then from then until February 26th, you'll be able to make those course selections. My suggestion is if you have any questions at any time, please make sure you reach out to your middle school guidance counselors. They know you the best. There were recommendations made by teachers who know you the best. So if you're thinking about levels, make sure you ask your teachers, again, what would be appropriate for you if there's any discussions. And again, congratulations. Hopefully we'll see you here soon. Congratulations to the class of 2025.
All right, Ms. Phillips, another question about world language here. Do colleges want to see you take all of one language or jump around to different languages? What do you think's better in that situation?
I think that's a great question, and it's always been our preference that a student sticks with one language in terms of getting a real fluency, a biliteracy. We just had students take the biliteracy exams last week. Many students passed and will have a seal on their diplomas, and you only get there by getting to the top level. So you won't get there if you're taking 1 year of French, then 1 year of Spanish, 1 year of Chinese, things like that. Not to say that having exposure to all those languages isn't good, and I did forget to mention Chinese earlier. That is another option. But the goal for us is to really build fluency with students. So we would recommend students take, for example, the same language in grade 9 and 10. At that point, they could either go on to the upper levels, in grades 11 and 12, levels 4 and level 5. And at that point, when people are interested in more than one language, is where they often double up, as I mentioned before. So as a junior, maybe they're taking, let's say, French 4, and they'll start taking Spanish 1, or they're taking Spanish 3 honors at that point. They might take Chinese, something like that. So we do like to see the student, and I think colleges like to see the student who has maintained the same course over multiple years, not only to build the fluency, but also show a commitment to getting to the higher level in the class. So yes, taking the same course for 4 years is highly desirable for colleges.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to throw this question. This isn't a core course question. This is more of an administrative question. So if one of the administrators would like to answer this, it's actually a busing question. How does busing work for students that reside on the west side and want to attend East High School? Dr. Perry, you want to answer that?
Absolutely, Mr. Davis. Thank you for the question. It's a great question. Much like in middle school, where we'll have students who are attending Rosa Middle School will be bused from both the east side and the west side to Rosa Middle School. There are bus routes for students who live on the west side that attend East High School, and there are bus routes for students who live on the east side and attend West High School. So busing would work much in the same way that it does for middle schools.
Okay. I'm going to throw this out to the entire panel. So this will be interesting. Give me a hand wave if you want to answer this question, but I'd like to get a couple different people. The question we had was, what's the typical homework load of an honors level course? Especially if you take multiple honors level courses for people who want to maybe mix and match between a couple honors, maybe some A level, and go from there. So Mr. Killian, why don't you just talk for math real quick, and then Ms. Sosinski for science, and Ms. Greenwald, I guess you'll follow that up for English.
Okay, so I just actually typed an answer for this in the Q&A, so that's why I'm raising my hand. So I had said, at least for math, I would suggest at least 30 minutes per night. But I think the most important thing is that whether I'm assigning problems or so that they don't necessarily have homework for that night, for me, that it's important that students find problems on their own or find something, but they work consistently every night. I think that if you train yourself to have that discipline, consistent practice, it just becomes a habit. you don't put yourself in a situation where you're cramming at the last minute and getting super stressed, super pressure. It's really important to just be focused and disciplined and have that consistent practice so that you're constantly on your game and that you feel a little bit like saner about everything.
Okay, Mrs. Zinsky?
Yeah, in science, it's very similar. I mean, in honors, I don't assign a lot of homework that would be like graded and then be easy points. But I might do something where, okay, we learned this today, take this assignment, practice it on your own, and then next class, we're going to come back and talk about it. It's possible that the student doesn't do it, but that's kind of what we're looking for in an honors class. We're looking for students to take that initiative to work independently, to think about, okay, what is going to help me learn this material better? What's going to help me reinforce those concepts that we've learned in class? And so, probably half an hour, 15 minutes, half an hour a day, just going back over what we've done together in class and then being prepared the next time we see you, whenever that might be, to ask questions or, move forward with your understanding.
Ms. Greenwald?
Similar to what both teachers for math and science said, in English, the students in honors are certainly expected to be at least reading every night. Often in an honors class, we are reading 2 texts at one time. Sometimes I might be reading a play in class and a novel at home. So the expectation is that there's always reading occurring. There is, in all of our levels, we are teaching vocabulary, and there are vocabulary lessons that are going to require study and preparation, and different writing assignments to go along with what we're working on in class. So it's definitely expected that there's reading every night. If there's not a set homework assignment for the next class, students are preparing for vocabulary. And really, this is generally the expectation, I feel like, for most of our English classes, that there's some sort of, and maybe it's just more explicitly assigned, possibly in an A and an honors level, that there is reading going on, there's vocabulary preparation going on, and the students are sort of always doing something that they're going to be expected to share, know, understand for the next class.
Okay. Mr. Zagrafis, we have another question for you. When would the students find out who their counselors are so that they can get in touch with them?
So that would be over the summer. So when the schedules are sent out, again, it's usually been in mid-August. Not sure what the plan is for this year, but basically whenever that happens, the student's counselor would be on that schedule.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zagrafis. All right. Again, just coming into the Q&A. Any other questions here? Other than thank you, you're welcome. I guess this will be an administrative question as well. What's the typical class size? I know it'll vary for a variety of different things. Dr. Perry?
Sure, it does vary depending upon department, subject area, and even the section and time of day. But I think it's a safe bet to say that the class sizes are somewhere in the neighborhood between 26 and 30 per class.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Perry. All right. Any other questions in here? Let's see.
Mr. Davis.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm going to build off of Mr. Flott a moment and mark it a little bit for the math department, because I spoke on the concept of doubling up, but you certainly can also double up with our elective options, not just our core content classes. So I wanted to make sure to offer that at the freshman level, because I did see in the Q&A someone asked about electives at the freshman level. We have an intro to programming, which would be very popular at the freshman level. And then they can developmentally grow into the next 2 levels of classes that they offer for computer programming at an AP level. We also offer statistics at the AP level, which is typically taken by juniors or seniors. So again, an additional option to take in conjunction with the primary course that you need to graduate, which are Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2. If you are going to be a 4-year college-bound student, we of course recommend that 4th year of math.
Okay. I'll throw this out to anyone who would like to answer it. This will be our final question for our core course teachers. When you need extra help, when or how do students reach out to you as a teacher? Or how do they do that? Give me a hand wave if somebody would like to answer that question from our core course teachers. Is that Miss? All right, go ahead, Miss Hunter.
Okay, so most of the time we have extra help, obviously in a quote unquote normal year. We have extra help during our LB1 and LB2 periods in the middle of the day. Most teachers also offer help in the morning or after school. We also have a cum laude tutoring, which is amazing. It's run by a couple of teachers and our Cum Laude Society, and it's free tutoring for math, science, English, and World Civ. They're able to receive free tutoring in their writing or just extra help in, time management, all of that good stuff. So if any student decides that they need extra help from the teacher, they would just have to email and either set up a time or attend one of the regular times that the teacher has posted. If they are looking for more of a tutoring type environment, the Cum Laude would be a fabulous place to go. And students can utilize both at the same time as well.
Okay, thank you, Miss Hunter. All right, so that's going to be the end of our core course session. So we're going to transition now over to our elective courses. So my core course teachers, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate you being here. You're going to see your screens kind of lose some people here as they go off. But again, we want to thank our teachers for being here and being part of this tonight. So let's transition now to our elective teachers. So this is the opportunity now for you to ask questions about our elective teachers. And Ms. Shine, I'm going to start with you. We have a question here that says, what are some of the business electives? And can you just mention if any of those business electives are available for freshmen?
Yeah, so the freshman business elective is ITB. For the most part, we have a ton of freshmen in Intro to Business. And right now, I think we have like 7 or 8 sections. So that is really our introductory course to all of our other classes. It's truly a foundations course that is important for the students to take if they want to continue taking classes. I mean, that being said, I've had seniors in my marketing class who did amazingly well without taking ITB, but it's really, if you're interested in it, it's a half-year class. So you could take it first semester or second semester. And most importantly, you can participate in DECA if you are in Intro to Business.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Shine.
You're welcome.
All right, we have a question coming in about fine arts. So Ms. Morgan, what art classes can a freshman take? And by the way, before Ms. Morgan answers that question, on our open house website that you clicked onto this tonight, you'll notice that there are 2 Google slide presentations, one for our fine arts department and one for our industrial arts department. So you can see examples of student work, the different courses that are offered and what they do in those courses. So when Ms. Morgan or Ms. Bannett answers questions about those types of courses, you'll know what she's talking about and what they're doing. So Ms. Morgan, what art classes can a freshman take?
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Morgan. I've been at East for 21 years now. So just very happy to be talking to you tonight about the fine arts. For freshmen, we have 3 offerings. One is called Fine Art 1. It was formerly called Foundations of Art, and I think it might still be listed that way in the course guide. So I'll clarify what that is. So Fine Art 1 is basic painting and drawing and kind of building those very basic skills for anyone with experience in art or someone who's a complete beginner. But it's geared toward observational drawing, understanding different painting and media, and just kind of figuring out how to start creating mainly 2-dimensionally in with painting and drawing. We have also 3D art, which is sculpture, ceramics, and any 3D forms. So the kids work with a variety of materials, and it's a very popular class for freshmen. It's our largest course in the fine arts. And then we have commercial art, which is also focused in similar media, painting and drawing, but focused toward product and commercial design, things like fashion, product design, things like graphics for skateboards, and different pop art end uses. So that's kind of a difference between those. And those are the 3 offerings we have that a freshman can take.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. So we'll go to instrumental music now. Mr. Kelleher or Ms. Walton, what are some ensembles that freshmen are allowed to participate in?
I guess I could take that. Freshman instrumental students would automatically go into either, depending on their instrument, would either go into freshman wind ensemble for any of the band instruments. If you're, of course, a string player, then you're going to be going into string orchestra. But they could either go into freshman wind ensembles, 90% for the instrumental side, or coming up soon, we'll be doing jazz band auditions. If that's the case and they want to audition for one of the jazz bands, we will be doing that soon. But for the most part, it's either going to be string orchestra for the strings or freshman wind ensemble for the band and orchestra instruments.
Yeah, let me qualify that about a little bit with the orchestra. Because the band and orchestra is handled just slightly different. All freshmen should schedule orchestra. If they're a string player, everybody signs up for orchestra. We do the auditions and the assigning in the new year. So what'll happen is all the freshman string players will be assigned to one class at the beginning. We go through a tryout audition process, and then it'll be divided into 2 separate classes. So you'll have string orchestra and also symphony orchestra. And as Mr. Walton said, for freshman band, everybody goes to that one class. But there's a little bit of a difference on how we divide up the string classes. We wait till the following year to actually do that.
Thank you, Mr. Kelleher. Mr. Zagrafis, we've got a kind of dual question for you. From a guidance perspective, about how many electives does a student pick each year, and are there any mandatory electives that you have to take?
So basically, you'll be able to take 2 periods, either a full year or 4 semesters of elective. Again, and one elective could be a study hall, all right? But we have so many courses here. It's just really, I would suggest, reading the course selection booklet, familiarize with the courses. The required one, financial literacy, is one, which is a semester or 2 marking periods. And then you'll have to take 5 credits of 21st century life skills, which is a whole bunch of electives to fill that category. And that'll be in the course selection booklet, which will be available at the end of January. And also 5 credits of visual and performing arts. So if you're thinking about taking band or vocal workshop, there you go. So again, it's really a choice. It's just a matter of making sure that you have 8 periods full, but you will be able to have 2 full periods to be able to select which electives are right for you. And please make sure you're choosing what interests you with that. And also choose alternates. Very important to choose alternates.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zagrafis. Ms. Lawsey, vocal music question. Can my child be in an auditioned choir or a small group as a freshman? Maybe talk about what that—
Not as a freshman.
is. Yeah.
Sure. No matter what grade a student is, when they enter the choir department, they start at vocal workshop. So vocal workshop is where we lay our foundation for high school choral music. Later in the year, they'll have that opportunity to audition for another choir that they'll be able to put on their schedule for the following year. And in the spring, at the very end of the school year, they all have the opportunity to audition for our 3 small groups that meet outside of the school day and are not for credit. That would be the Bells of East, Stay Tuned, and Voce. So we have a chamber group, an a cappella pop group, and then the Bells of East, they sing and ring handbells.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lossie. Mr. Gambino, we have a drama question. What electives are there for kids who are interested in getting involved in drama?
Sure. So specifically for freshmen, we offer a course called Living Theater, which is an intro into acting and acting for the stage. And we also offer a course called Play Production, which explores what it takes to put on a show from behind the scenes. What's cool about the theater electives, though, shameless plug here, is that they're sequenced in a cool way. So if a student takes Living Theater as a freshman, then the next year they can take Actors Studio 1, which is a little bit more advanced, and then Actors Studio 2, and then they can take directing. They can take film appreciation, broadcasting, which are also related to the theater in terms of the acting and sort of like the film production aspect. So it's really cool if you get sort of wrapped up in the theater electives, you can follow it through all the way to senior year and be involved. You do not have to be involved in the shows after school, although I would say 90% of the students who take those classes are involved, and vice versa. Some kids who get involved in the show after school then wind up taking the classes. So I think it's a cool opportunity. And I really can't echo what Mr. Zagrafis said enough. Take something that interests you, take something that you're passionate about. The electives, we have so many awesome elective teachers and so many awesome elective classes. There's something really for everybody. It's really cool.
Thanks, Mr. Gambino. Ms. Bannett, industrial arts question. What's the difference between some of the half-year options that I see and some of the full-year options?
Okay, so first, all of the career and technical 21st century skills are in tech ed. There are graphics, they are design, they are the new course, which is Innovation Studio. And that's what's available to freshmen. The basic graphics and advanced graphics are both semester courses. And then as a sophomore, junior, or senior, you can always take advanced applied, which is the full year extension of that sequence. Design 1 has a half-year option. Design 2 and Design 3 are full-year options. There is also a Design 1 full-year option. And what that does is allows a student who's very interested in design to expand their knowledge, to learn a little bit more. But if someone's just not quite sure, then Design 1 half-year is a good option. And Innovation Studio is a new course, which is going to replace Applied Technology, which is going to be a STEAM-based course, open to freshmen, and either half year or full year, which again will be an extension of the knowledge that's already being built in that class.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Beatty, I'm gonna come to you on this one. We've had a question sitting in the Q&A for a while about Student Leadership 1 and 2. Can you just talk on that very briefly, and is it something that freshmen can even take?
Absolutely. So Leader 1 and Leader 2 are programs that are developed to coordinate an action research project. So the culminating project in Leadership 2 is a project where students will conduct action research and figure out a way to improve the school based on student voice. Leader 1 is really targeted at how students develop those initial leadership skills, what action research looks like. It's based in some of the work we've partnered with the Qualia Institute. So they learn about those foundational items that build to agency, student voice, and how they use that voice to productively benefit their classes. Leader 1 is a freshman course, but the way it's structured, you can take Leader 2 multiple times.
All right, thank you, Mr. Beatty. Ms. Shine, a business question. Can you explain to everybody what DECA is? And, kind of what class besides Intro to Business, what's the next couple classes they should take if they want to be involved in the business programs and DECA?
Okay, great. We are actually right in the midst of DECA states right now, loading in papers that are due tomorrow. So it's a real fun activity for our students. We take about 350 students to DECA regionals, and you have to be in a business class. So it's always fun, not as much this year because it was virtual, but next year it will be, we take a test and in December, and then in January we go to the hotel, and the students compete, and they basically connect things that they've learned in the classroom with real world scenarios, and they create the scenario is given to them and they solution for that scenario, and then they present that solution to a judge. So I might be the assistant manager at the Wawa, and you might be the manager, and I'm proposing to you a new program. So it's really fantastic, and the students really love it. This year, we had about 300 students compete in our virtual worlds. And now we have states, and we have about 100 students participating in that. So you could do it in several different ways. You could do these role plays, which are great because your preparation is a little bit less than if you do a paper. So after Intro to Business, you can take the path through Business Management, MM1 and MM2, Marketing Management 1 and Marketing Management 2. Their names may change to Business Operations 1 and Business Operations 2. They're kind of like a path that goes through how businesses work. We do HR, we do accounting, we do operations, we do supply chain management, stuff like that through that path. You can write a paper in MM2. MM2 is also participating in the stock market game in DECA this year. You can also take entrepreneurship, which is it's a half-year class, and it's a great class to learn how to start your own business. They write a paper there for DECA, so it is kind of DECA focused, but you can write a paper on a franchise, opening a new franchise, international plan, which is opening a business overseas. So there's a variety of papers that you can write for that. And then you can move into marketing, which is a full year class, which I teach, which is very focused on advertising, marketing, social media marketing, integrated marketing. So we also write a paper for DECA. We are DECA centric in that class, but not as focused as entrepreneurship. And after that, after you take marketing ed, which you could take for college credit, you can move on to advanced marketing. And advanced marketing, DECA is a requirement. It's the only class where DECA is a requirement. They spend the first half of the year researching businesses. So this year their opportunity was to research a business that was affected by COVID and how you are going to bring customers back and loyalty back to that business. The papers are fantastic. I just got done reading so many 20-page papers, but they're great. And the students will role play that. They will pitch their idea to the judges at States. So this year States is virtual, but still they'll be able to record this year and still pitch it. So it's really exciting. We also have other half-year courses, business law, international business, and sports entertainment marketing. So
and a lot of those courses they'll take when they're upperclassmen. Correct?
When they're upperclassmen. So everything starts from ITB, from Intro to Business, and then the following year you can kind of decide, do you want to write a paper? Do you want to go into entrepreneurship? Do you want to do marketing? So it all depends on, some students like the advertising aspect, other students want to go into operations. So it all depends on what they're interested in, and we'll find them the right spot.
All right, thank you, Ms. Shine. Ms. Morgan, we had a question about, can freshmen take photography?
Hi again. The answer to that, unfortunately, for freshmen is no. Photography is offered to juniors and seniors for a number of reasons. It has worked really well for us as an upperclassman elective. But you can, as a freshman, join Photo Club. It's run by Bill Kovnat, and it's an extremely active club where students get to experience a lot of the basic really cool skills that you do in photography, ranging from darkroom to digital to Photoshop to special shooting. So that is a great way for a freshman to get involved in school and an activity as well as a photography experience.
Morgan. Miss Lossie, can you just talk a little bit? We had a question, is choir available for credit? Is it a accredited class? And then what are some of the small groups that students could get involved in beyond just the introductory choirs?
Sure. So vocal workshop is our first class, our beginning choir, and it is every single day. It's not like it's junior high, middle school, where you have it, it's not a class pullout, it's an actual class. It counts as part of your performing arts credit. And then as far as the small groups, a lot of our students have seen the small groups come to their elementary schools on tour and even the middle schools. So we have the Bells of East and the all over the state. And we even sang at the White House many years ago for Obama's last holiday party. We also sing at Longwood Gardens and different things like that. Voce is our chamber group. They also do a lot of touring, especially around the holidays. Stay Tuned is our pop a cappella group, and they compete very often and have a lot of fun. It's just a really great program, a way for them to get involved and pursue their passions in music. So again, you can audition for those at the end of their freshman year in the spring.
Okay, thank you, Miss Lossie. Mr. Kelleher, Miss Walton, we have a bunch of instrumental music questions. One of the questions we have is there a class or a way to learn a new instrument?
Hi, I'll take that one. The way our classes are structured, you really have to have some sort of at least fundamental knowledge of one of the band or orchestral instruments. But that doesn't mean that we haven't had beginners. In fact, one of our violinists who just made it into our top orchestra started off as a complete beginner about 1.5 years ago. What we did was we recommend you get a private instructor for the instrument you're interested in, especially in the summertime leading up to your freshman year, and get some of the basic skills that would suit whichever instrument you're interested in. If you're a woodwind or brass instrument, you'd be heading then to the freshman wind ensemble, orchestra, for the stringed instruments. I also noticed that there was one question kind of related to this about orchestra being a full year elective. It is a full year course. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about also. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not like elementary school where we have beginning classes, but we have found ways to help students get started.
Okay, thank you. And then Mr. Kelleher, can you just, or Ms. Walton, can you just talk about some of the opportunities that children, would have beyond just the Freshman Winds program and the orchestra? What are there small groups? Are there other types of programs that someone who's interested in getting involved? And Mr. Kelleher, you can maybe even talk a little bit about marching band here if you'd like.
Yeah, well, let me start with that, and then I'll hand it over to Mrs. Walton for. There's a lot of groups here. We're very, very fortunate here at High School East. There is the marching band that's open to freshmen. It's a co-curricular activity. It's a very big and loud and exciting and very dynamic group. And it's neat because we have students who are in choir as well as orchestra and band who are in marching band. They're either involved instrumentally or with the color guard or things like that. Now, Mrs. Walton can fill in about the wonderful chamber groups we have.
Yes, so we have various chamber groups depending on the different year and the time that we have allotted. This year is a little different, but we have sax quartet that usually goes on, woodwind quintet. Sometimes we have a clarinet ensemble or clarinet quartet, flute ensemble. Brass quintet has been a big one. And often we take these groups to Virtual Hospital, for example, or some of the nursing homes to play. Sometimes that we've been playing at the Cherry Hill Library, things like that. So we take them out to do various things. And usually at the end of the year, we have some sort of just the chamber groups concert, either in our school in the little theater, or we've done it in other community venues also. But there's a lot to do outside of school with our chamber ensemble. String quartets galore also. And Mrs. Mandescu puts together sometimes even duets, trios, and quartets. So there is so much to do.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walton. And in the same vein, Mr. Gambino, what are some drama opportunities that people have outside of the regular courses that they take? Like, if I want to get involved and I'm not good at acting or singing, like, are there things for me that I can do in the drama program?
Yeah, we are very active all year from September to June. So we begin the year with a show that features freshmen and sophomore actors. And there's a set that needs to be built for that. So if you're not interested in acting, we need the behind the scenes people there. Then we go into a fall show that, again, we build a set and produce and act and do things like make a playbill and very recently streaming websites and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of opportunities for people who might not want to be on the stage to help out with theater. From there, we have an advanced acting class Studio 2 show, which is open just to that class. So that's, again, a reason you would start with Living Theater, take Actor Studio 1, get to Actor Studio 2. You could participate in this class. And then we do the Spring Musical, which is sort of the premier event of our theater program. We are working on it right now. Actually just came from a crew call for the Spring Musical just an hour or two ago. So again, people who aren't acting are involved right now with that. And we will finish up the year with a 1-act play fest. So from September to June, we're putting on shows. We need to build them. We need to act in them. So there's definitely something for everyone to get involved. Someone had posted in the chat too, like, I haven't started yet. Can I get involved? And the answer is 100% yes. It's never too late. You can start with any show. You don't have to do all the shows to be involved. You can jump in when you can. Like, for instance, a lot of people might play soccer in the fall, so they can't do the fall show, but they like to be in the Spring Musical. So always welcome to kind of tap in and tap out whenever you can.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kelleher, we saw a question about piano and orchestra. You said you'd like to answer? You're muted, Mr. Kelleher.
I'll get this. Yeah, I'd like to follow up with the jazz band question also went with that. Do we play jazz band with piano? Yes, you would be trying out for the jazz bands or the lab band, just like the saxophone players and trumpet players and all that. For playing piano and orchestra, we do utilize pianos in orchestra, but it's not just piano. In other words, if you want to be a part of our orchestra playing piano, not every orchestral piece has a piano part. So over the years, we've taught our piano players to also be flexible to play either mallet instruments as required, timpani. We had a concert piano soloist who was with our orchestra a couple years back, and when she wasn't playing piano for us, she was playing timpani. We found that piano players do very well learning how to play the pitched percussion instruments because of their piano background. So for being a pianist in an orchestra, you need to be a little bit more open to new and different things. For jazz band, there is a specific piano part for both lab band and jazz band. That's by audition.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kelleher. I'm trying to think. I'm just going to throw this out to the panel. This could be a core course question, but we have a question about computer programming. Specifically as a freshman, what would be recommended through senior year for someone who wants to concentrate on this subject all through high school? I'm gonna throw that out to, that could be a math related question. Dr. Perry, do you have that?
Sure. So as a freshman, I would recommend Intro to Programming. And then there in the course selection guide, there's the sequence is available there. So students can follow that. We may be adding some additional courses in a year or two to further add to that programming, that listing of courses. But for freshman class, 9th grade, Intro to Programming would be where we would start.
Okay. All right. And then Ms. Bennett, we had a question about technology courses. Did you answer that publicly?
Sure. No, yeah, I'd be happy to. Okay, so the technology courses that are offered at present are computer graphics, advanced computer graphics, and advanced applied computer graphics, which is a scope and sequence that uses Photoshop, Illustrator, digital art tablets, and gets into very basic animation, not movie animation, but just basic GIFs and moving documents. Design is actually, and that uses the Adobe shops in graphics. Design uses SketchUp, AutoCAD, and Revit, depending on which sequence you are in. It goes up in intensity as you get up in years. So we start with SketchUp and Tinkercad as a freshman. We do a little bit of AutoCAD if you stay in the full year design. Second year, we do AutoCAD and SketchUp, and we tinker in Revit a little bit. And then third year, we do pretty much fully Revit, which is a three-dimensional software as well.
And the beautiful thing is when you guys are done taking those classes, you'll know exactly what language she was just.
True, true. Ready for college. How's that?
Absolutely. So we want to thank our elective teachers for coming on tonight. You know, we're happy that they were able to kind of answer some of your questions. What we're going to do for our final segment tonight, and thank you, elective teachers, you can head on out. For our final segment here, what we are going to do is bring in some of our students. And what our students are going to do is and you can ask questions of them. So students, go ahead, you can turn your cameras on now. So what I'd like our students to do here, I actually prompted them with a couple questions, and I'll just ask our students to kind of answer those questions. And then if you have any questions for our students as well, we'll try and take an opportunity at the end. I'll answer a question that's been in the Q&A for a while. How do you join a club? Well, one of the big things about Cherry Hill East is if there's no club for you, you can start a club. You can just find some kids who are like-minded like you, find an advisor, and you can start a club. We have over 65 clubs right now that are still active and meeting, even with the situation we are in. So it's a nice time. You know, you can really, like I said in the video, you can make this this school very small, even though it feels very big. So I'm going to throw out this first question. I'll throw this to Max, Devin, and Caitlin. And the question is, what do you remember about coming to East as a freshman? When you were a freshman, what do you remember about coming to East? So Max, Devin, and then Caitlin.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm glad you are all here tonight. Obviously, I can't see you, but so what do I remember about coming into East? I mean, obviously, I was a little scared and a little apprehensive that I was going to be making such like a pivotal transition in my life from middle school to high school, and I feel like that's a theme across the board. And I just remember hearing how different middle and high school were from one another. So obviously that made me anxious, but I don't want to make you anxious because obviously East has such great support systems and there are so many opportunities at East that you could really form bonds with other students and other teachers and join clubs. So it just makes this transition from your middle school to high school a lot easier. And I just remember the school being so big when I first toured it, and I just remember confused. On my first day of school, I got lost, and I was so embarrassed because I remember coming into school and my face was all flushed red, but still just like occur with the common theme of like support from others. Don't worry, like you could ask anyone at East, any teacher, any other student or anything, like everyone at East is so helpful and comforting. And also at East, I just remember there were so many activities and ways that you can get involved, which really just made this transition from middle school to high school so much easier and more like happier and better.
All right. Thanks, Max. Devin?
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I'm Devin Levin. I'm a junior. What I remember from actually freshman orientation was, or 8th grade night, was all these upperclassmen, as I'm like walking through the doors, they're all like clapping and like cheering me on. And I was just like a little 8th grader. I was like, please don't embarrass me. I'm like just trying to get by. But it was actually the opposite of embarrassment. It was actually welcoming, and it was really awesome because I mean, a natural instinct is to be intimidated by upperclassmen, but to see like everyone clapping me in was like really awesome and was really welcoming experience. Um, my first day as a freshman, I remember, was kind of a little chaotic because that's like high school. I mean, you come from a middle school that is half the size of a high school, and you're in a new environment and everything, and it's really intimidating at first. But then once you like settle in, it's really comforting. Um, of course, you're gonna get lost. There's a billion people in the school, hopefully, but that's natural. It's normal. I mean, you're gonna laugh at it later in life. I really had an awesome experience. And one time, my first day, I got lost, and there was this like, I don't want to name the person, but there's this like 6-something foot upperclassman. Oliver Adler. I knew him previously, and he was like, "Oh, are you lost?" And I was like, yeah." He was like, "Oh, sure, I'll take you to your class." It was very simple. So that's what I remember from my first day.
All right, Caitlin. So here at Cherry Hill East, the Giants will show you around, Caitlin.
Yeah, there are definitely some giants here. Me being 5'1", I think everybody's kind of a giant by comparison. But hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm a senior this year, so it's been a second since my freshman orientation, but I remember it pretty vividly. They kind of we had like a upperclassman tour guide, and they kind of just let us run loose and explore the school. And I remember it was very big, and we didn't know where we were going at all. I think we went in circles. But it's not actually very difficult to find your way through East after a while. Something that I found really helpful was like joining clubs, because not only did it make the school physically feel smaller to be, I'm involved a lot in the performing arts, so I spend a lot of time in D-Wing, where all of our music classes are. And so just being in that kind of secluded area kind of made it easier for me to, okay, this is where I am, and my orientation within the school. But also like socially, it was really nice to have people that I could see every day and I saw after school, and that made the community feel a lot closer. Because I loved middle school, and I feel like you probably know most of the people in your LC or your team. You know everybody, and I can't say I know everybody at East, but it quickly became a lot smaller. It seemed really overwhelming at first, but it didn't take very long for me to find where I fit in and find people that really got me. So
All right, thanks, Caitlin. All right, so we'll throw this next question to Jordan and to Michaela. So Jordan first, then Michaela. So what did you decide to get involved in when you came to East? And is there anything that you're in now that would surprise your freshman self? Like, I didn't think I would be doing that I know both of you are seniors, but there's something I'm doing now that I didn't think I'd be doing when I was a freshman. So what did you decide to get involved in? And is there anything that you're in now that is surprising you or would surprise your freshman self? Jordan?
You can hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. So definitely I came to East and I was always had like an athletic mindset. I played soccer and I ran winter track and I ran spring track, and that kept me busy all throughout my year pretty much. But I never would have expected coming in as a freshman that I would be so involved in student government. It's something I tried once when I was in 6th grade and I didn't really like it. And it was only at the end of my sophomore year that I decided I was going to go and give it a shot again. And I'm glad I did, because I like contributing to the East community. And even though we have COVID right now, so it makes stuff a little bit tough, I still enjoy being involved with the school and stuff like that. So yeah, that's about what I've been involved in. I also I like to pop my head in clubs and stuff every now and then. I want to do as much as I can, and there's only so much I can do, but there's a lot to do.
Sure. Michaela?
So probably one of the most important things to me that I got involved with was the volleyball program, and as well as work with the African American Culture Club, which I both started my freshman year. I also try to get involved as much as I can. I know there's, like Jordan mentioned, there's a limited amount of time, but I love getting involved with Spirit Weeks and Multicultural Days, as well as other school events. I also found myself kind of popping into other clubs, such as the Fellowships of Christian Athletes, which I just started this year. what would surprise my freshman self the most, I think, was how important volleyball actually became to me, especially since I did not play prior to entering high school. It was kind of just something I tried out when I came in. I think overall, my involvement with the club as well also is something that really surprised me as well, because I didn't expect really to be that involved with it and actually have so much available to me. I think initially I was like, yeah, I'll just join it, just kind of be something that is another thing on my list, like I just have to show up. But it's actually a lot more than that, and that's what I really enjoyed about it the most.
All right, thanks, Michaela. All right, so for this next question, we'll go to Tim. And we'll go to, sorry, I've got multiple screens up here. We'll go Tim and we'll go Aubrey for this question. So Tim and Aubrey, what do you wish you could have done if you could go back to your freshman year and start over? I know one of you is a junior, one of you is a senior, but you know, if you could go back to freshman year, what do you wish you could have done if you could go back and start over again? We'll go Tim and then Aubrey.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tim. I'm a junior. I've done SGA all 3 years, and I've done football for all 3 years, and I've been in quite a number of clubs, and I've been to every school dance that I could. I seriously wish I did more sports. I wish I did sports in the winter and spring. I wish I did more clubs. I mean, I'm pretty involved, and I wish I did more. It's a really fun experience. You meet a lot of people. Even through SGA, you meet a lot of people and you make new friends. I really just wish I did more. And a lot of people have said, like, you know, it sounds crazy to do all of that stuff and still manage school. And the more that you do, the easier it gets to do your schoolwork because you work out time management. And I seriously wish I'd have done more and gotten more involved, played more sports, all that.
All right. Aubrey?
Hi, I'm Aubrey Demerge and I'm a senior this year. If I were to say some things that I wish I did when I was a freshman that like I didn't do, would definitely be on the academic side, like use resources that your teachers give you and like their extra help more than I did, because I definitely could have taken advantage of that more. And like when you're a freshman, you think like, oh, the teachers are so scary, like you don't want to go bother them, but like they're really just trying to help you. And I think it's like that it's definitely going to benefit you more if you take advantage of like the time they give you to go talk to them or like go make up certain assignments or like reassess things or anything like that, just to like give your grade a little boost or any support throughout the way, because it is a difficult transition freshman year. On a sports aspect, I mean, I've played field hockey since 6th grade. I'm going to play it in college, but I wish I played another sport, like tried out lacrosse, which a lot of my friends do. And I know plenty of people that tried lacrosse, like picked it up for the first time freshman year. So I think that would have been another fun thing I could have done. I'm in a couple clubs, like, I mean, I'm in a handful, but aside from SGA, that I didn't join anything until after freshman year. So I would definitely recommend like trying to do stuff right away if you can, because it's just going to let you meet more people and like build stronger friendships right away than waiting until following years.
Okay, there's a question in the Q&A I'm just gonna throw out if you want to hand wave and answer it, because I know a lot of you are involved. So the question says, if you're interested in multiple clubs, do they meet 1 to 2 times a week or every day? I'll answer that question. It depends on the club. Some clubs actually meet every day. Some clubs meet once a month. Some clubs meet every other week. But why don't one or two of you just talk about how you balance, and I guess this is more for athletes, but also if you're involved in drama or music, you can answer as well. How can you be active in clubs and also play a sport and, you know, or maybe be involved in music or drama? You know, does somebody want to answer that? Kristen, you haven't answered anything yet, so go ahead. Kristen, you can answer that. And then Tim, I'll have you answer as an athlete.
So I'm not involved in, well, hi, I'm Kristen, by the way. I'm not involved in sports, but I'm involved in a lot of different culture clubs, student government, blood drive. There's a lot more, and orchestra. And what I do, I have a lot of clubs, so I kind of make tiers, right, of like, hate to say it, but like importance, right? So if there's like a club that I'm really involved in and I really want to be a big participant in, then I would go to that club and try to prioritize their meetings. But then there's clubs like bridge, for example. You know, I pop in once here and there and I do bridge like that, or other clubs like that. But I sort of balance it out, knowing my schedule and then also prioritizing each club.
Yeah, thanks, Kristen. Tim?
So when football season's in, you do usually practice every day after school during the school year. So that's something that, you know, you can balance homework once you get home. It's harder to do clubs unless some clubs meet during lunch. SGA meets during lunch. So you just have to find out your base schedule and then see if you can add on clubs. Like if you know you want to do football or soccer, then register for that first, see what kind of slots you have. Don't just walk in and join every club and play a sport. Like don't just walk in and think that you can handle it all. Just add one thing at a time and you'll learn to see what times you have open slots and what you can handle. Just don't do too much at once.
Okay. All right. So let me throw this next question out there. Daniel, I'll have you answer, and Kristen, you can answer as well. Actually, and we'll have a couple other people then answer. I'll just call on you. So Daniel, what advice do you have for the incoming freshmen? You know, if you could impart some words of wisdom, what advice would you have for incoming freshmen? So what do you have for that? And then Kristen, and then we'll throw it to a couple other people as well.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Daniel Pipersberg. I'm a senior. Some words of advice I can give you is definitely keeping your graduation date in mind, graduation year in mind, 2025, and being able to map where you want to be by your graduation year, figuring out what courses you want to take. I know when I was a freshman, I wanted to take an engineering course, but I never got the chance to. And I told myself every single year I was going to take it, but here I am, my senior year, I did not get a chance to take it. So definitely keeping an organized list of your courses that you would like to take, but also if you are participating in a lot of activities, understanding time management is really important for you to balance activities and balance your academics here at East, because that's really the secret sauce, really, in order for you to definitely be successful in your academics while also thriving outside of school.
All right, Kristen.
So Daniel's are pretty long-term advice, and mine are, I guess, a little bit short-term. So an upperclassman friend gave me the amazing idea to join as many clubs as possible. And like my little blip of first marking period freshman year, I know first marking period is pretty stressful and there's a lot of different things going on. You know, you're at a new school and there's a lot of transition period, but that's also the time where I guess you have the least assignments. So then therefore it would be easier to join clubs. And then that's when clubs are kind of starting up too. And then you get to find new people and then weed out the clubs that you don't like. You know, I tried debate and I was like, ooh, that is really not for me. And it was good because now I know. But freshman year is a good year to do that. And then also the schedule is kind of crazy. It's whack, to be honest. And having your schedule on your lock screen is a lifesaver. And then knowing like what period it is because it changes. So then always like knowing that's because I've shown up to a B period when I was A period a couple times. So those are two things, two hacks.
Anybody else want to answer that question? All right, go ahead, Aubrey.
Along with like the schedule kind of thing, this is a little silly and may seem a little extra, but you can find like a online like picture of like the school map, which for me, I printed that and color coded the hallways and memorized which like hallway was where in the school and like highlighted my classes in the building. So like I already knew where I was going before even getting there and I didn't get lost once, which I think is pretty impressive because a lot of freshmen get lost. But so I found that helpful, and definitely what Kristen said is also extremely helpful just because it makes it easier and like the school day less stressful if you know where you're going and what time you have to be places so that you don't have to worry about that and you can focus on other things.
All right, I'm going to throw this out to the whole group. There are some people who are watching who are unsure if they're going to come to East. They're choosing between West, East, potentially a private school, continuing at homeschool. So could one of you or two of you, if you were in that situation, you weren't sure if you were going to come to East, why'd you decide to come here? Like what kind of swayed you to come to East? So we'll go Caitlin, and then we'll go Tim and then Kristen. Or Devin, you haven't answered in a while. So Caitlin, Tim, and Devin.
I mean, I can understand that because there was a point in time where I wasn't sure if I was going to go to East. So, I did have to consider that at some point. But now looking back, it was definitely the right decision for me. From an academic standpoint, which was a huge deal for me, it's very competitive if you want it to be. I find that the teachers and the courses have really pushed me, and I've learned how to fail, and I didn't know how to do that before. I think everybody at some point is going to get a class that they really just hit a wall and they have to, get over that. And that's across the board. So that was a really big thing, like pushing myself, and East is really good at that. The students do that and the teachers do that. And, additionally, there's a really great cultural community here that I was really lacking before. And I didn't realize how much of a big deal that would be. But for me, especially like being part of like CSA, which is the Chinese Student Association, that was a really big deal. And learning Chinese, which was a new language course at the time, like connecting culturally with people has been really awesome and something I didn't know I needed before. And it's not just for like Chinese people, it's for there are a lot of cultural groups, and it's a really big deal at East, like Multicultural Day and stuff like that. Those are really important to people.
All right, thanks, Caitlin. Tim?
So I had the option to go to East, West, or Cherokee, and I chose East. So first of all, you go with the kids. If you have been in Cherry Hill, you go with the kids that you've been with for a long time, and you will end up being friends with people you didn't think you would. The sports, I mean, you still have that energetic crowd and the countrymen and all of that. You'll still get that sports experience with the good crowds. There's so many clubs and there's so many things to do. I had two brothers that went to West, and just from hearing the different experiences that you get at East and West, it definitely feels like East is just a little bit more energetic and you get a little bit more out of it. And I'm not, shaming West. I'm just saying, I just think that East has more of an energetic vibe to it. You just get more out of it, and the people are just, I don't know. It's just a different experience. It's really cool. I wouldn't change schools. If I could do it again, I'd go to East every time.
Thanks, Tim. All right, Devin.
Hi. So sorry, my voice cracked. I feel like there's three main reasons why people go to private school. And I believe that it's 1, friends, 2, education, and 3, a negative middle school experience that they think is going to reflect into high school. And I'm going to tell you why East gives all of those aspects a chance. So first of all, friends. Well, East has Cherry Hill has 3 middle schools, and it all funnels into 1 high school, which I feel like everyone knows. But a lot of my friends now are from different middle schools, and I feel like a lot of people go to private school because they're intimidated by the size of people and think they won't find someone. But I feel like a bigger school is better for those problems, because if you're stuck at a private school where there's only a few kids and you don't have any connection with any of them, I feel like that's worse than going to a big school, because a big school has every single type of person is at Cherry Hill East, and I can promise you that. If you don't think there's a place for you, there is. And another thing, I feel like education, and I feel like a lot of people discredit public school education, especially in Cherry Hill, because Cherry Hill is one of the most competitive school districts. And I mean, last year we sent three seniors off to Harvard. Like, I feel like people think they'll get into better schools if they go to private school, but I just think that's not the case, especially for East, because East is the high regarded school for colleges.
All right, thanks, Devin. All right, so I'm going to give some of my seniors a little bit of the final word here. So we'll go Michaela, Jordan, Daniel, Aubrey, Kristen, Caitlin, and then sorry, Devin, Max, and Tim. We'll see if we can get to you. But very briefly, so we get everybody a chance to speak. Here's our final question. What do you like most about Cherry Hill East?
So I would have to say I really enjoyed the atmosphere of the school throughout all 4 years. Not only is there a sense of unity, but there's also a sense of pride that has kind of grown on me throughout my experience through high school. East has also been super supportive, so there's so many resources that provide many opportunities for you in your future. And overall, the schools will support you no matter what journey or kind of what interests you and where you want to explore. So I think that was probably my favorite part about East.
Okay.
My favorite thing about East is definitely just like the friends I've made here, but it's the fact that the school has given me the outlet to be able to meet these people. Through all the stuff I do in student government and on my sports teams and the clubs I've joined, like I never would have met these people. And like now that I know that these people have my common similar interests, I think it's something that like I couldn't get at every school, because not every school offers that type of dynamic where you can just do everything you want to do and meet the people that like to do that stuff as well. So that's definitely my favorite thing about it.
I think my favorite thing about East is just how diverse we are. Really, East represents all walks of life. And it's really important to understand that when you come into East, you might come in with your friends and you might leave out with a new group of friends, and that's okay, because that's really all a part of the growing up experience. And I think East definitely really challenged me, really grew me as a leader, ready to take on the world. And I really don't think I can find that anywhere else, any other high school that I would go to.
For me, I really appreciate and just love how well East prepares you to go on to the next chapter of your life, and how supportive and all the options that they give you to really decide what you want to potentially major in college, what the options are outside of just college. Our financial lit classes do great in explaining different options outside of just college in itself. The variety of classes, obviously, and how important it is to balance a schedule and learn to get involved in other things and find a true balance between academics and extracurriculars, and then your social life. So I really appreciate just the culture and experience of East to really prepare you for that next step and make it less scary.
I think East can be whatever you want it to be, as it's you take your opportunities, and it can be anything that you want. There's so many different people and so many different things and places that you can go do and see with East. I know that East has provided me with being able to be a part of the Board of Education and sending me off to the New Jersey Association of Student Councils Leadership Training Conference, and also to Girls State. But then also, where else would I be able to dissect a cat? East has done so much for me, and that's what I really appreciate.
One of the things I love most about East, and that I'm missing a lot now being at home, is the culture of East. I don't mean culture as in diversity. I mean culture as, the traditions that we have. Spirit Week, when the boys swim team wins state, and then the marching band, they all run through the halls and stuff like that, and we're all clapping them on, or getting Chick-fil-A when there's a basketball game. Those are the kind of things that make it so fun and personal, which it's not just academics or extracurriculars. It's I get to be with my friends and I get to see people have fun, and that was something that I'm really missing right now.
I thank you guys so much for this. So We have about 1 minute left, and I will give that final minute to Dr. Perry, because I'm sure he will want to say thank you to everybody. From my perspective, I want to thank all of you for attending. I want to thank you for being part of this. I want to thank our students for their voice, because they really are the people who make Cherry Hill East what Cherry Hill East is. And so I want to thank them for that. We want to thank our special guest as well, who has popped in and was, enjoying listening to some comments as well, Crimson the Cougar. So Dr. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Thank you, students, so much for sharing your experiences tonight. I'm very proud to be the principal of East. I'm very proud to be your principal, and you certainly represented East extremely well tonight, and I thank you for that. I'm glad that our prospective students had an opportunity to meet you in some way, in this format, as many of you will be off to other life opportunities next year. A couple of you will be back, but I really appreciate you spending the time with us tonight, and like I said, I could not be prouder right now. So thank you.
All right, so that ends our 8th grade open house. Again, you can go on. Let me just do some final comments here. On our open house website, there is an opportunity if you'd like to sign up for interest in clubs and activities. One of the big aspects of open house is that you can go and you can meet coaches and musical directors, things like that. So on our website, we set up a Google form. Just fill in your information there. You can fill in information for or interest for as many as 6 different activities, sports activities. And then what will happen is the director or coach of that activity will send an email and will contact you about their activity, what it's about, timelines, dates, other things to really, do that correspondence. So please take advantage of that opportunity. Thank you very much for attending, and have a great evening.